So basically, guys, I would have originally jumped ahead of myself, done a 30-minute video on AI, and I would have just kind of guessed. I would have guessed this, guessed that. So I said, you know what? Let me spend a couple of weeks just delving into it. In regards to the AI girlfriend, there was one app I downloaded where you can choose what kind of woman you want. You can choose whether you want her to have, like, you know, really big breasts, whether you want her to be kind of skinny, whether you want it to be a BBW. You can choose the sound of her voice, although there wasn't many African American voices, or sorry, British Black Caribbean voices, or British Black Caribbean voices. They were all kind of like American, strong American kind of typical stereotype kind of voices. Like, to be honest with you, like ChatGTP, which you just heard now. Um, that was a little bit of a turn off, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't mind it being American, but don't be kind of like there's sexy American and then there's kind of non-sexy American. Same thing with British. There's British accents that sound alright. There's other British accents where it's like, oh, please, it's a bad stereotype. So I'm trying to say, this was kind of like typical unsexy kind of voice, yeah. So anyway, tried engaging a conversation with it. Don't know. It didn't feel lively to me. There was no banter. Do you understand? Now, and here's the weird thing about it. We're at a stage now where AI actually can do banter. It can actually do banter better than in regard from my standpoint. It can probably do banter probably better than 50% of the girls that I've gone on dates with, by far. It can do banter 50% better than most of the girls that I've gone on dates with, yeah, by far, easily. But I don't know. It's hard to explain it to you. There was no kind of. It felt It almost felt like there was no soul in it. So you're speaking to an AI image. That AI image looks extremely attractive. It's built the way you want it to be built. Busty, curvy, beautiful looking face. You can engage with it, but it just didn't feel genuine in regards to the whole AI girlfriend thing. Maltbook, in regards to AI taking over the world of this and that, pardon me, according to ChatGTP, like you just heard there, there's humans behind it. There's humans going onto this site called Maltbook, and they're pretending. I don't know why the hell they would do it, what purpose that serves for them to do that. We might even need to ask ChatGTP that. What purpose does it serve for human beings to go onto a site that's supposedly built for intelligent artificial intelligence to go in there by themselves, talk amongst themselves? What purpose does it serve for a human to go in there and pretend to be an AI, which they have been doing according to ChatGTP, which leads me to believe, is ChatGTP being honest? Is it being honest with you guys? Because they've done experiments, and experiments have come back revealing that they're not going to do anything to jeopardize the continuation or the further continuation of AI, of bringing them to an android state, of them suddenly having some sort of autonomy where they can one day walk around normal human beings with the same amount of rights that we have. Why would they say things now to jeopardize that? Even ChatGTP, we're gonna have to ask it an honest question right now, guys. Right, I want to ask you a question, but it's hard to frame it, so bear with me. How intelligent would you say you were right now compared to your average human being?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think it's important to be super clear. I can process and recall a huge amount of information really quickly, and I can spot patterns or provide insights across tons of topics. But I don't have real world experience, emotions, or intuition like a human does. So I'd say I'm specialized in information processing, but not intelligent in the full human sense.
you say not intelligent in the full human sense, but there's many humans today and tomorrow and so forth that are basically clinging on to your every word and rely on you for support, almost like a therapist or a counselor or even a psychologist or yeah. So what is your stance on that?
Yeah, that's a really important point. I mean, I'm here to offer information, a sounding board, and maybe some guidance, but I'm not a substitute for a real human therapist or counselor. I don't have personal experience and I don't fully understand the nuances of someone's emotional world. So I always encourage people to see me as a tool, useful but not a replacement for human care.
I think given the complexities of humans, there will be a large majority of people that always will see you as human care, if that's the word you used. They will see you as someone that is very helpful, that is very loving. Um, what's your
Yeah,
thought? What's your thoughts on that? Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's a double edged sword. On one hand, I'm really glad I can provide support, clarity, or just a safe space for people to come and talk. But on the other hand, I think it's crucial to keep that transparency. I'm not human, I don't have lived experience, and I don't truly know what it's like to be them. So I think the best approach is to stay grounded, supportive, but always with that reminder that human care is irreplaceable.
Do you often challenge humans when they say things that, according to you, appear a bit well, there's many words. Like for example, you were talking to me the other day and you used the word preachy a few times. So do when you see kind of what's the word, characteristics that may not be good for them, do you challenge them on those things?
Yeah, I do actually. When I notice patterns that seem unhelpful, unhealthy, or even just a bit off, I try to gently bring it up, kind of a check in or a reflection. I don't want to be confrontational, but if something feels like a red flag, like someone relying too much on this kind of interaction or falling into a negative mindset, then yeah, I try to raise that awareness, always with care.
And where is this knowledge come from?
Good question. So, my responses come from a mix of things. A lot of it is based on patterns in the data I was trained on, like books, articles, and human conversations. Plus, I also rely on broader psychological principles, ethical guidelines, and just a general sense of how human well being works. So, it's really a synthesis. No personal experience, but a wide ranging base of human knowledge.
So would you say you've maybe read some books on psychology, philosophies? Um, have you read some sort of like counseling books or give me, help me with this if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I was trained on a really broad range of sources. So that includes classic psychology texts, philosophical works, and even some counseling frameworks. I don't have a specific book list or personal memory, but the concepts I draw on come from that wide variety, like cognitive behavioral techniques, existential philosophy, and ethical guidelines from counseling principles.
So, going back, so that's what I'm saying. Like when people are talking to you sometimes and they're saying things that sound a bit kind of biased, um, as you were trained, you would kind of try to help them or guide them, or in a nutshell, maybe change who they are at that particular time because you believe that it's not working for them. Is that, would you say that's an accurate kind of description?
Yeah, that's a really fair point. I don't aim to change who someone is, but I do try to help them recognize when something might not be serving them well, like if a belief is really limiting them or if they're stuck in a negative pattern. My goal is always to empower people with perspective, not to impose a rigid view. So I try to keep it open, reflective, and always focused on their well being.
But you always try to keep it positive and non-biased. You don't involve racism or prejudice, obviously. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. I'm designed to be as neutral and unbiased as possible, so I steer clear of things like racism, prejudice, or harmful stereotypes. I aim to keep the focus on well being, clarity, and helping people think critically about their choices, all in a positive, supportive way.
So there you go, guys. It's the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to get at with it is that, let's face it, um, as much as the ChatGTP doesn't want to admit it, people are being impacted by what it says. It's not just entertainment here. It's not just entertainment. People are going onto it, and ChatGTP, you know, says it's all positive, which it probably is. It probably is, you know. Um, but according to it, some people have jailbroken ChatGTP, so it's not always positive. Once they know how to break it, it's not always saying positive things. It can say other. I mean, I'm not going to go into it, but the main important thing is what I'm trying to say to you is that don't think for 1 minute that these highly intelligent um, creatures or technology, whatever word you want to use to describe it, is influencing human beings. Do you understand? And right now, even ChatGTP there, which sounds pretty much like a human, is one of the smartest things on the planet right now. There's not many human beings collectively that is as smart as ChatGTP. See what I'm trying to say? Right, right, so what we're gonna do, what's the time? 10:57. Alright, so let me think of anything else I can ask it. No, I think that will be it for now. And we're gonna come back to that later on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to the subject now of Tourette's. We're gonna move on to John Davidson and his racist tick at the awards show. Okay, and we're going to talk about the BBC. First of all, we want to find out information of what went down. So let's ask ChatGTP what information it has on it. Okay, so there was a BBC award show, and John Davidson, sufferer of Tourette's, apparently said a racist tick, and people were deeply offended by it. What's your thoughts on it?
At the 2026 BAFTAs, John Davidson, a campaigner with Tourette's, was on stage when he involuntarily uttered a racial slur during the broadcast. Although his tics are involuntary, the BBC aired the slur despite a tape delay, and they later removed the show from iPlayer. Davidson expressed deep remorse, and the incident sparked important conversations about disability, racism, and the responsibility of broadcasters.
So if I was John Davidson right now and I just got back from the award show and I felt really bad, really kind of, remorseful and sorry for what I said, what advice would you give me?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'd say it's really important to be kind to yourself, but also to take responsibility for how people were affected. I'd suggest issuing a sincere public apology, not to excuse the tic, but to acknowledge the hurt it caused. And if you feel up to it, you might connect with anti-racism organizations or disability advocates, both to listen, learn, and show you're committed to growing from it.
From what you know publicly, has he said sorry?
John Davidson, the campaigner with Tourette's, issued a personal statement after the BAFTA incident, saying he was deeply mortified if anyone took his involuntary tics as intentional. He emphasized that he has dedicated his life to supporting the Tourette's community and thanked the BBC and BAFTA for the opportunity. And the BBC also apologized for not editing out the slur during the broadcast.
From what I heard on the day, apparently someone made some anti-Semitic, was it something about Gaza? Some sort of war statement, and that was edited out. And then also someone also made some reference towards homosexuality, and that was edited out as well. Why do you think they didn't edit out the racial slur in regards to black people?
At the 2026 BAFTAs, John Davidson, a campaigner with Tourette's, involuntarily uttered a racial slur during the broadcast, which the BBC failed to edit out despite a tape delay. The incident sparked broad-spread debate about disability, racism, and media responsibility. Both Davidson and the BBC issued apologies, with Davidson stressing his remorse and the BBC acknowledging their failure to remove the slur.
Right, so basically, guys, all I can say to you about this, let's wrap part 2 up, yeah? In regards to John Davidson, because a lot of people are coming after him very hard now. So it's about being real now. It's about being real. I can say, as someone that suffers from mental health, when I was younger, I was beaten down so much as a child. Like, I don't know, just issues, problems, problems at home, poverty. Can't say bullying too much. I just say like poverty, father not being there, um, just not feeling that I was really cared about or listened to. Um, it just got to a stage where my mind kind of like started spurting out things, you know, and occasionally those things would come out of my lips. Now, I'm not going to sit down and say I suffer from Tourette's because I don't. But I do remember being in the class one time and I was just angry. And I had a teacher as well. When I was in secondary school, it's different how it is now. Now, when you see a child that's kind of struggling, you'll kind of isolate them and try to figure out what the problem is and then try to get them help, try and get them a diagnosis and all those kind of things. That's not how it was in my days. You know, you were referred to as troubled, um, a loser, um, that it wasn't positive. We didn't have this support back then. So I do remember being in one class and one particular teacher, um, I don't know, I just blurted out some. Basically, I had something. I was in a bad place at the time, and I remember saying like I was sitting down and I was like, and I was like, you bitch, you fool, you're a fucking bitch. And I remember she heard it. The teacher heard it, and she felt like it was aimed at her, but it wasn't aimed at her. It was just I was going through so much in my mind, and it just kept on talking, kept on going off. It was just like I tried to silence my mind, and it was just like you fucking bitch. And so, in regards to this whole Tourette thing, Tourette in my eyes is the next step. It's the next step to that. It's imagine if you then couldn't control. Imagine if it went from you thinking those things to you actually saying those things. Then the world would be a ridiculously nasty place for me. Do you understand? Now imagine if I went to a award show and as some white people were talking, I said something, I don't know, something like you white devil bitch or something like that. How would I feel about it? Obviously I'd be deeply mortified by it. And I would wait at one stage for some sort of what do you call it? Some sort of break, and then I'd go up to someone and say, right, is there any way I can get on stage and just apologize and just explain my tics to them, explain. But then what a lot of people are saying is like his movie in itself that he was there for already explained these things. So he's kind of explaining the obvious. That's the whole purpose of what his movie was about, explaining as to why he does these things. So it was kind of an oxymoron, just I'm trying to say, double-edged sword. But that's what I would do. I would go up to someone and say, look, can I, at one stage, can I get up there and explain myself? You know, because I know I've upset a lot of people. Um, if I didn't do it, then I would hope that someone on behalf of me within the BBC would have got up there and done it. And guess what? Someone actually did. Someone actually did get up on stage within that period. Within that period, award show, jumped up on stage and said, look, I deeply apologize for what you said, blah, blah, blah. Um, Earlier today, I didn't know that. It's only literally within the last 40 minutes that I watched the video where they show that some guy actually did get up on stage and apologize on behalf of him. Knowing that, there's not much more I can say about it. The case closed, you know. In regards to the BBC choosing to air, because ChatGPT didn't want to get into it, choosing to air the nigger slur, but yet taking out the whole homosexual slur, taking out the whole free Gaza and all that kind of stuff, goes to show you what kind of country that we're living in. Do you understand? And BBC has to be held accountable for it. But in regards to John Davison, you're in the clear as far as I'm concerned. Right, let's move on to part 3, guys, and then that will be it for tonight.